And welcome to today's talk. It's Thursday, the 11th of January. Now, last week there was published some really concerning research from China. What the researchers did was they got a virus from a pangolin. That's these charming little creatures that are so abused throughout Eastern Asia particularly. They took a virus from the pangolin and they cultured it in cells in the laboratory. And they then infected mice with it. And it killed all of the mice that had infected through brain infection. So they've generated this new virus that kills 100% of mice it's infected with. But it gets worse because the mice that were infected were humanized mice. Now, these are called transgenic mice. In other words, they were given some human genes. And they were given human ACE receptor genes that were expressed by the mouse. So these are essentially human ACE receptors in genes. And it was a coronavirus from the pangolin, and it killed 100% of the mice that were infected. And these are the things that they are jiggling around with in laboratories. This is absolute madness, and it needs to be banned yesterday as far as I'm concerned. The only reason I can see for doing this kind of research, the only reason I can see is as biological weapons. I really can't see anything else. So that sounds melodramatic. The researchers say it's because they're worried about spillover infection. But of course, they created the virus in the first place in their cell lines in the laboratory. So it's not a virus that's in nature to spill over into human populations. So we've got a situation where they created a virus or generated a virus. It's not that they synthesized it together. It just evolved in their cell cultures in the lab. That killed 100% of the humanized mice. Brain virus disease. Now, they don't say whether they've tested it on humans or not, but given that it was affecting human ACE2 receptors, I think the probability is it would cause viral brain death in the vast majority of human beings that it infected. This research to me is just an existential threat to humanity. It really has to be stopped. Because the record of labs leaking all over the place, you were just reminded of a sieve. Anyway, let's give you the details and you can make your own mind up. I've told you what I think, but this is the paper here. It's a preprint, lethal infection of human ACE2 receptors in transgenic mice. So let's look at it in some detail now. So lethal infection. So it kills 100% of the mice that it infects. But remember, these are humanized mice with human genes expressing human type ACE2 receptors, which of course is the receptor that the coronavirus binds into. But this is a different coronavirus, of course. Infecting of human ACE2 receptor, transgenic mice bred up with humans, which we can seriously question the ethics of this as well. What are the ethics of putting human genes into mice? I think that's an open question. Let me know what you think. I'm pretty uncomfortable. I can see why they do it. They're still mice, but they're expressing human proteins, human receptor sites. Let me know how you feel about that. I feel somewhat uncomfortable about that, I must say. So, caused by a SARS coronavirus 2 related. So it's not the SARS coronavirus 2, it's related. It's from these pangolins, these ant-eating type creatures that are so abused in Asia for their blood. Coronavirus, and this is the name of the virus, GX, underline P2V. Not a very trendy name, but there you go. Published on the 4th of January. There's the links. Check it out for yourself. SARS coronavirus 2 related pangolin coronavirus GX, we'll just call it GX from now on, shall we? Can cause 100% mortality in human ACE2 transgenic mice. 100% is one more than 99. It meant it killed them all. A virus that went into the brain and caused death through viral brain disease. I'm very uncomfortable with this. Very, very uncomfortable with this. Potentially attributed to late-stage brain infection. So it's brain infection. This is direct from the authors, of course. Brain infection is the problem. This underscores a spillover risk. Well, a spillover would be a natural spillover. So a spillover would be that the virus comes from the animal, spills over into humans, and causes an infection. And that's what these scientists are worried about, according to what they've written in the paper. But they created the virus in the lab in the first place. You might see a paradox there. So anyway, they're worried about the risk of a spillover. Fair enough. And it provides a unique model for the understanding of the pathogenic mechanisms of SARS coronavirus 2. In other words, it gives them a chance to study it. Why they would want to study this is slightly less clear. Right, the letter to the editor. Dear editor, 2 SARS coronavirus 2 related pangolin coronavirus. So they found this one, but this one didn't do any harm. This one was fairly safe in the mice, but this one wasn't. Were identified prior to the COVID-19 outbreak. Now, as you can see from this was discovered in 2017. So this is a while back, and the paper was published on the 4th of January 2024. The relative isolates were cultured in 2020 and 2017, so they were culturing this back in 2017. Now, early passage through the cells isolated was actually a cell culture adapted mutant. So, in other words, what happened was that this mutant that caused 100% lethal brain disease evolved, if you like, while they were passing it through various cell cultures to grow it in the lab. And then they thought, oh, hey, presto, we've got this 100% lethal virus. So that's how it came.
6 days left until the World Health Organization and the WEF, the World Economic Forum, are coming out in 6 days and announcing Disease X. They have planned it for January 17, 2024, and they're, quote, preparing for Disease X. This was just released on the World Economic Forum website for their big annual meetup. And this is their main talking point for this year is, quote, preparing for Disease X. So you need to be getting ready. I was talking about a couple of days ago how this World Health Treaty is also being implemented as well. Right, all these things are on the back burner and they are about to be law. And we only have a couple more months until this international health treaty goes into effect as well. All right, so